One of my favorite movies of all time is The Other Guys, and it just reminds me when Christina's husband comes in. He's like, "You think because of the beard I'm hairy everywhere, but I'm not." I'm shaved. And it's kind of like I'm not dressed.
Do what you need to do. No judgment. So, anyways, I thought I'd start by just sort of I'm recording, but I'll edit it, obviously.
Oh, let that part run.
They're gonna totally just go with it. Yeah, I figured whatever we get into, it's gonna be gold, and I'm good with it.
Well, I think that's your MO. You just have that ability.
Oh God, that's alarming. Okay, thanks.
I mean it. I mean, who sends a lobster?
Hey, spoiler alert, we didn't get there yet.
So I'm Nick Stagge. I work out of my home in a hoodie and underwear. But in real life, I am the CMO for Woolly, a software company that is really trying to disrupt the way brands think about commerce. And instead of leaning on retailers or simply focused on direct to consumer models, we're introducing a new channel where you lean on your customers and they become vocal mouthpieces for your brand. They talk about your brand, they recommend your brand, and they do so not because they're paid, but just because they love your brand. So we work with 60 plus really cool companies like Blend Tech and Purple Mattress or Hydro Flask, Stance Sucks, and we've been powering their c-commerce for, well, since the day we really stood up as a business about 18 months ago. So that's my full-time job. I wake up and I think about that a lot. And then on the side, I sit on the board of advisors as a strategic marketing advisor for a company called VidArmy. And they are attempting to be the very first video agency that is subscription based. So they want to debunk this myth that video has to be expensive or hard, but they're bringing high quality, really killer custom video to their clients, unlimited, $500 a month, and they're just killing it right now. So those are the things that keep me up at night, work related. All the other demons we'll leave for another webinar.
Yeah, we need to have a separate Theo chat. I think he needs his own. Dude, how old is he?
He's 4.5.
So Nick has this cool family of awesome humans, including this little guy named Theo, and he is like the gold on my social media. Like, this kid is funny. Like, he's really funny.
He's got his own, he's 4.5. He has his own account at Theo Dances.
Does he really?
And the kid he's just full of personality. Yesterday he was laying just in his underwear on the tramp with big, huge white glasses from his sister. And today it's snowing and he wanted to recreate that in the snow. So he has a personality, that's for sure.
He's funny. So we need to talk about Theo another day. He's just awesome. Yeah. He cracks me up. He's so good. Yeah. So for students who don't know where you're at, Nick's in or around Salt Lake City. So that's cool. Yeah. You guys have 4 seasons. That's cool. I wonder what that's like. So tell us your day in the life at Woolly. What do you do?
Yeah.
Like, what's a day look like?
So it's interesting because in startup mode, you have to literally do a little bit of everything. In previous roles, I was leading teams of 30 to 50 people and really spending 90% of my day strategically thinking and leading, and maybe 10% of the day executing on something that was a passion project or important for the exec team or board or something. But now it's much more like, oh, I've built out a vision and a strategy. Now I've got to go execute it. So I stopped building my April newsletter so I could jump on this webinar with you. It's been a long time since I've actually been the person writing and coding and sending monthly newsletters. But those are some of the things that I'm doing now. Generally speaking, Woolly's approach to marketing is really human and personal and organic. In 18 months, we've only run paid media for 2 weeks. They just so happen to be the 2 weeks before the pandemic. And it's been really personal. So I am a huge believer in owned and earned media. And I think it's Andy Cernovitz who coined the phrase, I'll butcher it, but something to the effect that like advertising is just the cost of being boring. So I am a content marketer at heart. I'm about storytelling. I'm about relationships. And I want the companies that I work for to have that same sort of feeling, because I think that there's a much deeper connection to the brand and the products when you do that.
That's so fun. Okay, so CMO, doing some production, managing a crisis at the moment. I mean, all of the above. What's like the most fun part of your day?
Yeah, it's trying things, really quickly trying things. And it's funny because I've always thought, oh, I'm biased for action. I move really quickly. And then the pandemic hit and you realize I wasn't moving as fast as I could have been or as fast as I should have been. And there's this sense of urgency that we're facing right now that hopefully we can carry on post pandemic, because when you test new things and you try new things, you learn a lot and you figure out what works and what doesn't work. So right now, one of the things that I love doing, and this is a weird thing for a marketer to say, but I've taken on a quota and I'm selling and I'm running through demos and I'm having conversations and negotiating terms and contracts. I do this for a couple of reasons. One, I think a marketer should always carry a sales quota. This isn't a new thing because of the pandemic. Day one, stepping into Wooly, I was like, okay, I'm raising my hand. I'm going to have a quota. I'm going to carry a book of business. But I do it because it connects you really deeply to the prospects. It connects you really deeply to the sales process and motion. And it connects you to the handoff to your CS team when the deal is closed. That perspective helps me so much when it comes time to create a sell sheet or when I'm building a landing page. Asking myself, okay, if I'm chasing this prospect, am I actually going to use this sell sheet? Does this landing page help convert that person faster and set them up the right way for me? So I'm enjoying that right now, and particularly with COVID, because we're offering new things. Like many companies, we're trying to think differently. We're trying to give back to prospects and existing customers. So I'm on the phone, I'm on a Zoom testing something. I'll be able to go through 3 or 4 of those in an hour and a half. And then it's like, okay, I think in that amount of time, I've tested and got real-time feedback. Now I'm going to go build an asset that supports it so the rest of the team can scale. And I just really love that right now.
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier, and I feel like we are being forced to live in like 24-hour units of time in a different way than we've ever lived before right now, because life is so precious, but also like the priorities and just day-to-day interactions, all of that sort of has shifted, it seems. And it's like, these are 24 hours we don't know that we're going to see tomorrow. And I feel like that's forcing everyone into a different frame of mind, which is awesome and scary and crazy and cool. But yeah, it sort of just changes like totally the perspective of life, right?
It totally does. And I think so many people are saying, here's your 5 steps to navigating COVID. But you said it earlier, and maybe it'll get cut out of the recording, but you said, like, I'm sorry, I don't know. We've never been here before. And I think the strongest marketers are not only accepting that reality, but they're embracing it. And so instead of trying to answer all of the questions, they're trying to ask all of the questions. And that approach is so different than maybe the way that it's been in the past. But when you just keep asking questions and asking and asking, you start getting better answers. And It's just it's a really interesting, it feels like it's a small shift, but it's actually a really big shift.
Yeah, I feel like philosophically, this is a very monumental moment in time, just on many levels, and that's crazy. And I think we're all looking for the adult in the room, trying to like gain some like North Star, and it's like, shit, you're not the adult. Where's the adult? Well, I don't know.
I'm definitely not the adult in any room or conversation. My kids are carrying me through this, and so is my team. But yeah, we're all kind of looking around going, who the hell can help me?
So
And
crazy.
there's some really sad realities that there's not always someone kind of extending their hand trying to help or knowing how to help. I think people are trying, they just don't always know.
So I'm
Yep.
curious, let's back up about your career. Let's talk about your beginnings in Utah and sort of the whole GoPro story, and then getting into Skull Candy. You want to give us a quick rundown?
Yeah, I was I mean, I'll speed through it, but the gist is I was the kid in high school who, if I didn't like a job, I'd just middle finger my manager and I'd walk out. And I think by the time I was 18, I had something like 60 different jobs. So if you can dream of it, I've done it. Well, one of those jobs, I ended up working as a sales associate at like 17 at Sam Goody, an old CD store. That dates me. And I was sitting on the counter because they had an all hands employee meeting in the back, and I was the new guy. Everyone except the manager stormed out of the room, and the manager came out bawling, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Everyone just quit. I don't have a manager. And I'm a senior in high school, and I'm like, I'll be your assistant manager. And I got paid $311 a week to be the assistant manager, and I thought I was king of the world. Well, it kickstarted this career in retail where I ended up, by the time I was 21, I was managing $40 million a year in retail across 3 states and 20 stores, 400 plus employees. And I did that for 10 years. And I realized really quickly that back then, specifically, e-commerce wasn't even around. I remember when Zoomies, where I was working, launched their e-commerce store, and they gave it a store number like they were giving physical brick and mortar stores, and it was a low volume store. We were like, oh, that's cute. We have e-commerce. But brands were spending all of their effort driving sell in, but nothing about sell through. They were just selling into Zoomies or wherever, and they were expecting the team on the floor to sell the product. And I thought, boy, if a brand just took control of that, they would be in such a better position. So knowing I didn't want to be in retail anymore, I drove up to Park City, which is where Skull Candy's headquarters was. And I started pitching them this idea. And they're like, we're not hiring for this. We don't even like really get the idea. And I just kept talking to them over the course of about 3 months and convinced them that they should take a swing on me and let me come build a program. And if after 90 days it didn't work, we could just part ways. Scary for me because I felt like I was taking all the risk, but they said yes. And I ended up building a global retail training advocacy marketing platform at Skull Candy. And then I got recruited to go build a bigger version of that, to include retail and press and athletes and influencers and you name it, and to do so globally. So I did that for a couple of years, really when GoPro I got lucky. I jumped on right before the Hero 3. And if you know much about GoPro and Hero 3, they were growing, and Hero 3 went, and it was a rocket ship. It was insane. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I realized, wow, I really want to get into tech. I want to get into tech and a place where I can not just help grow one brand, but many, many brands. So I made a transition into a company that was a vendor of GoPros and became their director of marketing. And I've just worked my way up since then. So it's been a fun, wild, crazy ride, but it certainly taught me a lot.
I think what's cool is when I met you, which we'll get into in a minute, but it just sort of like you totally know what you like, what you are into. You have a very kind of outdoor lifestyle centric mode, it seems. anyway, it's just cool that you've sort of followed your intuition and just kept along with that. I totally admire that. And I think that's so critical, especially for students, to sort of grasp and understand. And like I feel that you, Nick, have a very specific brand and you're totally true to it, which is cool. And sort of following and seeing what you've done in the past couple of years, it's pretty sweet.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I did have this moment when I was at Zoomies and then again at Skull Candy, but where I would go to dinner or the movies or something and people would be like, hey, it's the Skull Candy guy. It's the GoPro guy. And I hated it. Candidly, I hated it because I was like, nope, I'm just Nick. Like I happen to work there, but I'm not the company guy. I am me. And I've tried really hard to, as cheesy as it might sound, to kind of step away from that and build my brand. I'm really proud of the places I've worked. I bleed Woolly and Vid Army right now, but the odds of me being there in 5-10 years is slim. That's just not how the industry works anymore. So I've worked to try to build my own reputation and my own brand, and to do so with respect and always in an effort to support the companies that I'm working for, but also to support me long-term, and then just to feel good about the things that I'm willing to do and not willing to do.
That's fun. So you ready to get into this?
Yes, I can't wait. I know where this is going and I love it.
So this, I will start out by saying, was the most bizarre thing I've ever done in my professional career, but I was like, this is totally going to work. So let's start with, we met at an AF conference in San Jose, a couple years ago.
Yep.
You were giving a talk about not influencer marketing. Influencer marketing is the best way I could summarize it. Anyways, and then you had a slew of students that wanted jobs straight afterwards, and I just waded through the line. I was like, dude, I think I need to know you. We should work together on something. Would be cool to build out some sort of internship program for my students. And anyways, we got into this conversation, and all I know is it sort of at one point culminated with the concept of throwing lobsters at each other, Wolf of Wall Street style. And you're like, dude, I'm not working with you if we don't do this. And I'll hand it off to you. What happens next?
Right. It was at the office. Our front desk office admin, McKay, she slacks me and she's like, you have a package here, but something's not normal about this package. I'm like, who knows? Like there's anthrax in there or something. And I open it up and sure enough, you sent me Lonnie the lobster. And
from Boston.
Like no one will ever top that as a direct marketing sort of campaign. It was unbelievable. I'll never forget it. It's unbeatable in my eyes, unless someone wants to send me, a Tesla Cybertruck or something. Like
you're not gonna this is your chance.
Yeah, get on it, people. I need that Cybertruck so I can drive nowhere right now.
Honestly, but what's funny is like, I just sent this. I thought it'd be funny. I was like, all right, if we're going to work together in some capacity, I'm totally going to send you a live lobster. And I think it was live at least through dinner time, because I have some photos of your kids playing with this on the sidewalk.
That's right. Yes.
But I start getting these texts from you like, dude, you did not. And this was like, the day after you talked and you had flown back from San Jose.
Anyway. You did it quickly too, which was impressive. You had already ordered it before I'd even left the venue.
Yeah, no, of course. But, I get a text from you like, dude, did you send me something? I'm like, yeah, what's up? Is it alive? And I'm like hesitating. I'm like, shit, is this about to be a PETA problem? Like, where's this going?
Not at all. I ate Lonnie and he was delicious.
Well, and you said at some point, like, people in the office were sexing Lonnie. They couldn't figure out if, like, he or she was a male or female. Like, they named it. Like, who named it Lonnie?
Yeah, Lonnie could be a boy's name or a girl's name. I think we ended up just saying that Lonnie identified as they, them. And Lonnie was delicious.
Oh, it was just, anyway, it was something stupid. But anyway,
it wasn't stupid because it's there's something that bonded us about because of that, right? Like, we've both met lots of people before and after, and yet there's always this, oh, it's Sandy. Like, oh, I will always feel like we have this connection that is unique and different. So I don't think it was crazy. I don't think it was dumb. I think it was really smart and well done. The sad reality, Sandy, is I'll never be able to actually like repay you with anything meaningful in return. So
I've
joke's
got
on
a
you.
thing
I'm
for
the
baby
winner.
giraffes, so you figure it out. No pressure. No, what's
No.
funny is I have no problem being crazy, like no problem at all. Totally fine with that. But we just sort of hit it off. And this is sort of one of those stories I try to tell my students about networking, and like, it doesn't need to be some sort of rigid, formal business suit, stuffy situation where you have a pre-rehearsed script. I mean, it's just hang out with people, talk to them, see what's going on. And like, you either find people you can hang out and work with or you don't, and that's okay too. And it was just one of those things. I was like, yeah, we're going to work together somehow. That's cool. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wakes up and brushes their teeth in the morning. There's no reason not to just be human and real with one another. And I like that. I think I've never been the kind of guy that has felt like I have to be someone other than myself when I'm networking and talking to people. And I just recognize that they're a human being too, and they're unique and awesome in their own ways. So when you break down that barrier and you just realize we're all on the same playing field as people with emotions and feelings and needs and wants, it becomes a lot easier to start building a lot of relationships and meaningful relationships. And I think that's part of what has helped me move from company to company is at literally at every single transition I've made. Um, it has not been through an application. It has not been through a job listing. Skull Candy, Zoomies, when I went there, they had a new store that was opening and they hadn't posted for anything. And I worked angles to get in with the district manager and convince her to hire me as a store manager, never having been a store manager before. At Skull Candy, they weren't hiring for a role. I walked in and I used my connections to help over time kind of whittle them down and give me a chance. At GoPro, one of my old employees had applied for a job there and been turned down and then recommended me because she thought that I'd be a good fit. At Expert Voice, I was a client of theirs and had made good friends with their CEO, and we made a connection there. At Wooly, I literally reached out to the CEO and said, because I'm a contributing author at Utah Business Magazine. I said, I'm writing an article about CEOs and founders who have wild side hustles. You have one. Let's talk. I'd like to feature you in this article. I didn't give two craps about the article. I wanted to get in front of this guy to tell him that he doesn't have a CMO and he needs one. We had that conversation and I got hired that way. It's so hard to be found if you're just sending applications out. You've got to network. You've got to build your personal brand, your reputation. And then you have to leverage that to try to get your way into opportunities that otherwise you just may never get into.
Yeah. And
Sorry for that rant, but
no,
I feel so passionate about that. And I wish someone would have told me that as a college student.
it's so hard to convey that to especially college students who feel that maybe they're just coming out of college, haven't had a lot of work experience, sort of learning and new in the world. They're, fresh hatchlings, but at the end of the day, they are trained, they do know things. And just honestly, get out there and be the mosquito at the networking event and just be there every time, be present. So I think that's the fun part of networking and just getting to hang out with people and kind of learn more about them. And randomly, we ended up with what on LinkedIn, I think, or Instagram. You said you got what, more than 4,500 hits on this damn lobster at one point. It's like
it was
semi-viral lobster.
Yeah, it did. People loved it. People loved it, and it's been years, and I still have people ask me, "Aren't you the guy that got the lobster?" Yes.
And then we got to hang out and just get to know each other better over these past couple of years, which is fun.
It's been awesome. I've loved it.
Super cool. So yeah, that's sort of the funny story and where we came from. But I guess the last formal question I have for you is, what do you love about like the marketing and advertising space? If you could just package it up in a quick thought.
I'm a little different than many CMOs. I really value digital marketing. I value the programmatic side of things. That's not why I became a marketer. I became a marketer because I love people. I really like learning about interacting with and building relationships with people. And to me, to be a great marketer, you have to have a few intangible skill sets. You have to be able to operate with empathy. You have to understand how people feel. You have to also understand how to communicate to people so they feel the way you want them to feel. And that is such a challenge, and it's so fun when you get it right. It's magic. And that's why I became a marketer, because those are the things that I am passionate about and I want to accomplish every single day.
Awesome. Applause to you, sir.
Well, thank you.
You could give us the valedictorian speech another day. I know there's more to that.
No, that's it. I'm pretty much a one-hit wonder. Yeah.
Get out of here, Nick.
It's true. It's true. You don't want to talk for more than about 31 minutes, because after that, it's like talking to a Neanderthal.
Oh, yeah.
It's already borderline that, but it really goes downhill quickly.
I could see that. You are very close.
Yeah. Yeah. Cabin fever is real. I've been growing this beard, but then the other day I walked into my bathroom. I think I was walking into my laundry room or my closet to hang up laundry. And I just happened to see my shaver, and I was like, I'm going to shave my head. Let me tell you, one swipe down the middle, instant regret. It was.
Wait, is your hair some sort of flock of seagulls situation right now?
Did you No. I mean, like, I will say I have a fairly nice head of hair for a 39-year-old, but I went all buzzed, and oh man.
Look, you've got time to grow this out before any other human's going to see you, so who cares?
That's what I'm telling
We can Photoshop a little wig on that. It looks good.
Oh, I like that. That's a good idea.
Well, so dye it purple.
Yeah, my kids would love that. My 15-year-old daughter, when I shaved my head, she was like, I don't even know who you are anymore. She literally broke into tears.
That's so crazy.
Like, are you going to keep shaving it? No, I swear to you, no.
It's just hair. Who cares?
You say that. Let me see you shave your head.
Not today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see how this cabin fever gets. As you know, with extroverts, it gets exciting.
You shave your head, I'll find a way to send you a baby giraffe.
Dude, I might do that.
That's recorded.
Okay. We're going to put this on the internet.
Okay.
The World Wide Web of Al Gore is going to see this. That's crazy. That's awesome.